Guys, this is it. This is the moment. This is it. Really. My first order, my first big buy order got hit, right? We talked about the altcoin market. I'm not that interested in Bitcoin. But fuck, there's so much going on right now that I want to talk about. But this is the moment where the longs got liquidated. This is the moment where the people that have cash are blessed as fuck. This is the moment where the comment section on YouTube is gonna always explode with people blaming everybody but themselves. This is completely it. And this could be a very negative thing. I get that. But this could also be a very positive thing. Why and how can you turn your negative situation into something positive? Because if the market goes down, I'm not necessarily happy in the first place. But the future me is gonna fucking take my yacht and ride all over those bears. I don't know if a yacht can ride like that, but oh my God. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Fomo Factory. Subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on. Guys, it's funny, right? Every time the market is down, I'm getting more and more excited. And look, that's for one very simple reason. It's not because I was shorting. It's not because I was fully in cash. But it was because I had certain expectations that I mentioned on the channel quite a lot. And that I was prepared with a bag of cash. And that I do know that, wherever altcoins go in the future, the lower you can buy them, the more gains you will make, right? And if you bought, like a lot of people bought months ago for what, a 2-3x? Okay, cool. If that was the expectation, a lot of altcoins now sitting 10x lower, then you can now make it 20-30x, right? If that was your but now the expectations are dropping as well. And that's the mistake. That's the mistake. The market goes from here to here. Whatever happens in the meantime should not affect the end goal. Now, I wanna drop some things in this video that I think are super important. And again, I already know how the comment section is gonna look like, right? But let's be honest. This market is giving you a shitload of opportunities right now. So let's get over that. First off, let's very quickly start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has hit the target right now. What we talked about since, I think, December, I said, it's likely that Bitcoin could go back to 75K, right? And it was for a couple reasons. First reason is that this was the breakout level for Bitcoin, where it was having a lot of rejection in 2024, basically. We never retested that, right? We broke out and we never really came back. And that's kind of what Bitcoin does, right? Bitcoin, it goes up, it goes sideways, and then it goes up again, but it does retest, right? Then it goes up, it goes sideways, goes up, sideways, up, side. And now we finally have the retest right here. So that's the first thing. The retest is finally in. Second thing, why it was understandable that Bitcoin would find this level right here is that if you look at the first quarter / first half of the post-halving year, that's so far always what Bitcoin has done, right? Here in 2021, we saw Bitcoin having a correction of 31.4%, depending on how accurately you measure it. And in 2017, we had kind of multiple of those. In the first month, basically, Bitcoin had a 35% correction. But even later in the cycle, as you can see right here, in February until April, kind of what we are doing right now, right? The exact same time, we had a 33% correction, right? So 31, 35, 33. If you look what Bitcoin did right now from the top until how low we went, 31% correction. So that's number two. We didn't not only get back to the breakout point, but we had our seasonal correction. Also, if you take a look at the Fibonacci level from the last move that we have, or had, basically, you can see that the golden zone, the 0.5 and the 0.618, comes in here, right? Between $79,000 and $72,000. We are kind of perfectly in the middle, actually, right now. Also, if you look at the moving averages for Bitcoin, then you can find something pretty interesting as well, because there is one, pretty big moving average that keeps the Bitcoin bull market alive. And that's this moving average right here. So let me get this out of the way. That's $76,000. Now you can wick a little below it because at the moment we are lower, and that's fine. But that's kind of the level where we are sitting right now, right? So these are four, in my opinion, pretty big things that made me believe like, hey, we can go back to this level, and we are now here. Now, first off, if you feel like I don't like altcoins, but I do believe in Bitcoin, right? Especially long term, which every person, in my opinion, should like. What else are you gonna put your money in the long term, right? Then Bitcoin doesn't look like a bad buy to me. Right. And by no means I am saying this is the bottom, right? I want to get that out of the way. Can we go lower? Yeah, I don't know. I have no clue, bro. I can tell you, right? But I do have an idea like, hey, if you believe in Bitcoin for the long term, right? Then yeah, what do you buy it at 75, 65, hell, even 50, right? Does it really matter? Right? It's kind of the same. If you look back in the last cycle, yeah, if you bought the exact low of the cycle of 3,100, or you bought way higher at 5,000, right? Like, yeah, does it really matter? Right? So Bitcoin looks like a fantastic buy if you want to go within crypto at the lowest risk. However, that's not really my play right now. Right? And I said for the altcoin market, I have two entry levels. One got hit and one is getting there. If it is getting there, I don't know. But if we get there, then it's going to be awesome, because you have to understand. Yes, I understand you. Definitely. You're down, probably. Most people are down right now, right? Can debate that. However, again, there's a lot less liquidity in the market right now. Right? So whenever it turns around, and let's be fair, we all understand how this works. We know that it will turn around at some point, or at least bounce, right? Nothing is down or up only. Then it will pump way harder as well, right? Because it doesn't take much money to pump an asset that's low in liquidity, right? Now, one thing that I want to get out of the way, by the way, is I'm stacking up on Ethereum. I'm really stacking up on Ethereum right now. This looks like such a fantastic play. Bitcoin is down. Ethereum on its Bitcoin pair is down. It's breaking everything, right? And that's fine. I've showed this chart before, and I said like, hey, this looks like a fantastic buy. Again, if I do think that if you look back in a couple months or a year or whatever, then this was a fantastic buy, right? Like you can look at it and like, yeah, but we are now lower. Yeah, but if you want to try to time the bottom, then don't, right? You shouldn't, right? You will never step into crypto, never be in a loss, and all that means you have bought the bottom. Yeah, if you are looking for that on this channel, then you're not gonna find it. And I don't think you're gonna find that on any channel, right? That's luck. I caught some bottoms here and there, but there was never a skill matter. That's a luck matter, right? But overall, if I look at Ethereum, Bitcoin, it's a great buy. It's a great buy, and if it gets here, it's a fantastic buy, right? Look, this whole area, fine. DCA, right? This is a distribution phase, right? This is where you don't buy. And these are the moments where you wait, right? Now, let me be very clear in this video. I'll try to make this organized. When will I turn bearish, right? I know a lot of people want me to turn bearish. They say, well, it's only going down and you should sell, etc., etc. Look, in my opinion, the time to be bearish is, for Bitcoin, it's all not looking that bad actually. So I cannot really take that as an example, right? We can take a look at Bitcoin and be like, yeah, it's down how many percent from the highs? Yeah, fine, okay, true. But if you measure everything from the highs and everything is bearish, right? But you can also say like, yeah, well, I mean, from the bear market lows, it's up 5x. So what's bearish, right? Let's take a look at Ethereum, for example. Ethereum on its dollar pair, right? When is it time to be bearish? Look, wherever the bottom might be, whether it's this point, whether it's $1,100, I think there's a possibility that it gets there, definitely. But wherever the bottom is, I do think that we had some time to be bearish, right? When the market was accelerating like this, and we had some clear, resistance areas right here. This was a point where people they turned very bullish, right? But that's actually the moment where you should be bearish in that case, and maybe consider taking profits. And I hope you did, really. If we are now at the bottom or somewhere more, look, we are now closer to the bottom than what we were over here. That's of course a fact, right? So to now turn bearish, I feel like it's a little too late for that, right? It's a little too late for that, actually. For Bitcoin, I feel like 75 and, wigging down to like, 70. That would be my target for Bitcoin, where I would say like, hey, as long as Bitcoin is above 70, Bitcoin is looking bullish, right? Not even not bearish, but bullish. Bitcoin is in a obvious high high, high low bull market, nothing worrying about that. If Bitcoin goes, let's say below 65, I would say, okay, Bitcoin is really making it hard. Obviously, if it goes below this wick right here of 48, and that's far from now, but hey, that's how the market could move, then I would say, hey, bear market is on, right? Because then the uptrend is obviously broken, then we have a lower low, then the trend is reversing, right? For Bitcoin, we are far from that. Far from that. Now, I want to make very clear again in this video, yes, my Bitcoin target got hit, but I am not buying Bitcoin. And for one very simple reason. If you are in buying mode, right? If you believe like, hey, I don't know what's going to happen next month. I don't know what's going to happen in the next 2-3 months, but it seems more likely to me that things in half a year or a year from now are higher than what they are today. And I think that even bears can, understand that that's likely, right? If you feel like that, then you should consider like, okay, then what am I going to buy? What has the best risk reward right now? Well, when it comes to risk, Bitcoin is always better than anything. But the ratio. So if we look at the altcoin market right now, I feel like, okay, this was my first big target. I don't know if you remember, I said that. I said, this is where I make my first big purchase. I took my profits very decently here, actually. And this is where I make my first big purchase. That's now down. And again, you could be like, but again, like, let's not act like we can time bottoms, guys. Like that, we won't do that, okay? We're not gonna try even, right? So this is my first big purchase of about 25% of my cash. And this, I said, is gonna be my last big purchase with the rest of my money. That's where I'm going all in, right? And not changing that. Still gonna do that. Here now, in the meantime, I'm gonna nibble a little bit. I bought some ETH. I mean, Ethereum is $1,400. Like, how can you not buy that, right? But yeah, it's not gonna make a huge difference, right? But hey, if the market is going to reverse from me, I want to have some decent entries at where we are right now. But usually I'd say like, hey, if you buy every 10% correction, that's a good way of running out of money, right? This level, however, this is where I'm going hard. And for the people that miss that, why I'm going to do that, very simple. Because that would line up, that would finish this cycle compared to the last cycle, right? Because what we have seen, we went into a bear market for altcoins, went down 85 something percent. Here, last cycle, we also went into a bear market for altcoins, obviously went down more as that was a cycle before that. Then from the bottom, we saw a pump of 300 something percent. Here, from the bottom, we saw a pump of 400 something percent. Not that different, right? Then from mid-cycle rally, we saw a correction of 60%. Mid-cycle rally, and we had a correction of exactly the same, right? Then from the point where we bounced, we went up with, here it was 125%. Here we went up with, let me get it out of the way, 180, 90%. Also not that different. But then we were going down. And you could say like, that's because of COVID. The last lag was, but the market was already going down, right? Up till somewhere here, right? Like that was like the normal correction, and then we got COVID, and that brought us to this wick. And that was a correction of like around 70%. If we, like so far, we are now down 60%, right? This red box would finish the move. That would be 70%. That would be the 2025 COVID level. Now, COVID was a black swan. This is not a black swan, really, right? Some people are saying there's black swan. I don't know. This is somewhat announced, right? It's not that with COVID, they said like, hey, next week, we're going to get a fucking pandemic, right? Like, so it's not really a black swan, but it's bad news, right? But of course, the market doesn't go down if there's no bad news. So this would be the actual COVID level of this cycle, right? Now, I don't know about you guys, but I do know that the people that were witnessing this part of the market, they had two choices, right? Three: buy, sell, or don't do anything, don't care about it, right? The people who sold here, yeah, they didn't feel great. Like, let me put it very lightly, that was the stupidest choice of their life. I don't know what stupid shit they did in their lives, but that was probably the worst, right? The people who didn't do anything, who didn't buy, good regrets right there, right? They felt like, man, if I just bought that, how could I be so stupid, right? In hindsight, you look at these corrections and be like, why didn't I do that? Now we are there, right? Like, why are you not doing that? Well, this time is different. No, right? And then we had people who bought here. Guess who were the only people who made a shit ton of money in that cycle? The people who bought there, right? And I'm taking it from the bottom to the top, right there, the altcoin market on average, high cap altcoin market went up with 73x, right? And for some low, like crazy, right? But that's not what you're exactly getting out of it, of course. It doesn't really matter, man. You could have walked away with a 40x there, easy, taking basically no risk in the altcoin market, did not even buy the lows and didn't even sold the highs, right? Now, that's literally where we are heading right now. Literally, right? And yet we see people making the exact same mistake again. And I know my comment section gets filled with hate comments. How dare you be bullish when things are down? You should only buy when it's up. That's literally what people are telling me. Yeah, in my experience, it's not the right strategy, guys. Sorry. It's just not how it works. That's how people got wrecked, right? Look, the altcoin market, like I see a lot of people say like, hey, I'm wrecked with altcoins. Everybody's in a loss. Everybody's down. But I do feel like, yeah, but since the bear market lows, the altcoin market is from that point now still up with 160%, right? So why are people actually in a loss right now? It's because they did not buy around the lows, right? They don't want to buy there. They don't dare to buy there. They don't have the faith. They don't believe in the market whenever things are low. They rather wait for the market to show people that it can go up. And then people feel like, oh, okay, cool. It can go up. Okay, cool. Let me buy. And then they are down. And that's, yeah, sorry, in my opinion, that's the biggest mistake that most people are making in this market right now. They see the market now go down and they feel like, fuck, I don't want to buy. Then when? Like, these are the moments where, like, and again, it's not that I'm saying that it can go lower, but again, you should not try to time that bottom in the first place, right? I mean, the people who bought here, right? Like, who bought here, they saw their portfolio, it went down another 25%, right? Oh, fuck, wrong timing. Depends. Like, if you sold there, then yeah, but if you were holding on, then no, right? Like, so it is, it is such an opportunity right now. And I know I use the word opportunity a lot, but it is, right? And it doesn't mean that it has to play out in the next day or anything, right? If you buy today because you expect to get rich tomorrow, that's not what you should do. But I do know, I look at the market and I'll be like, wow, a chart that I've never shown before. Because I have never thought about it, looked at it, but a community member emailed me. If you're watching this, I don't even know if I responded to you. I will check back to that. But you are a legend. This is a really interesting chart. This is the Bitcoin dominance without USDT and USDC dominance. So what is that? That's basically the coin dominance, everything in crypto except the two big stable coins, divided by the USDT and the USDC dominance. So how is the actual money that's sitting in stables flowing into coins? Now, that's currently flowing out, right? It's flowing out. And we are now sitting at the exact same level as where we were in January 2023. That's how the stable market is sitting compared to the coins that we invest in, right? January 2023. Okay, cool. We got that, right? So let's take a look at the total chart minus these stables. Let me get that right here. Yeah. And let me see, like, where was it sitting in January 2023? And that was here. This point, this here. The low. This was, I'm seeing this now, the low, right? So we are now, when it comes to the amount of stables that's sitting in the market, here, when it comes to how high our coins are sitting, right? Yet our coins are sitting up 250%. How come there are now way more stables on the side than what there were back then, right? So here, the opportunity money-wise was the same, but the confirmation was lower as we did not have that money on the side in crypto. Now we are sitting at the exact same levels, basically, but the money is there. Right? From this point, the market did a 5.5x, and that's including Bitcoin, right? I'm not talking alt. So that's where we are now, right? And you might feel like, how, right? Like, you have to understand, a lot of alts, they got wrecked. This Aerodrome, for example, right? The leading index on base. And this thing is down with 87%, right? Look, here, it was at 160. It's some basic stuff, right? But here it was 160. And look how easily it pumped with 50% to 230, right? In a week, 50%, like it's nothing. Easy, right? Now it's sitting at 30 cents. Not at 150, 30 cents. Do you now do you guys like have any idea how realistically how extremely easy it is to now get a 200% weekly pump, right? And again, I'm not saying it will happen right away or ever, right? We can also get a 50%, then but if such a price, right, with this market cap and this liquidity can pump that much, then coins that are now sitting way lower in liquidity can pump way harder, right? I think most will understand, I think. So it's all getting slapped down really hard right now. And then there are now two kind of people. The people that have no money, and people that do have money. And I want to make it very quick about that. The people that do have money, you're so fucking blessed as fuck right now, right? You're so blessed. We know how the markets work, right? It's just a random chart, but it goes up really hard. It goes down really hard. It goes up really hard. It goes down really hard. We know that it can go up. I'm not saying it will go up really hard, but there's a very good chance that it will go up really hard at some point again, right? And if you now invest, you can be a whale in some of these bigger projects, right? Again, it's the same as Steam, what I've showed before in 2017, or Zcash, or Dash, or Litecoin, or all these big coins in 2017. They had a pump of 25x right here, like we saw in this market as well. But then they got wrecked with more than 98%. 98. What we are seeing, guys, right now is nothing compared to what happened in 2017. I want to express this because I sometimes don't understand how people can be bearish on this channel if I show this kind of stuff, right? It got wrecked with 98%. And then we went up with 15,000%. And this was all, this 98% was in the middle of a bull market, right? Don't get me wrong, this wasn't a bear market. Look what Bitcoin did. If we overlay Bitcoin right here, look, Bitcoin went up, right? It was the Bitcoin bull market. But altcoins can go down 90% in a bull market. That's what it is. It's like, these are low liquidity, volatile pieces of shit scams, right? I'm not saying that this is all legit great stuff. I don't care, really, if you make money with it. But that's why they are so volatile. That's why you came into the market in the first place, right? For the big volatility. Otherwise, you would have been in stocks, right? But if the volatility plays to the downside, then people feel like, yeah, what do you expect? Only doesn't work, right? But even in a bull market, the top coins in 2017 crashed with more than 98%, bro, right? But then the people who bought here, it was so low in liquidity, there was nobody here, right? So the people who did buy here, yeah, they made the easiest money ever. They're still, you don't even hear from them anymore. They were retired already. Now, I don't think the moves are going to be that big, this market. But I do think that the direction of the moves and the way that it's going to play out could be pretty similar. So things are breaking right now. And I think we need that. The Fed now, and if it's already over, I don't know, we're kind of in the middle of it, right? But the Fed is now getting reasons to lower the rates, right? If they see is like the S&P is gonna open later today, but I don't think it's gonna look that pretty. The Fed is gonna have a reason to say like, okay, we're gonna lower the rates. People are talking about recessions right now. I don't know if we're gonna see a recession, to be honest. I'm not a macro expert. You shouldn't ask me. But I do think that the word recession and the fear of a recession is getting maybe a little bigger than what it maybe is actually going to be. But hey, let's see. But if you look at this, the Fed had no reasons to stop QT here. The Fed had no reasons to lower rates right here, right? They had no reasons at all to print money. Why would you print money? Everything is doing fine, right? Now everything is obviously not doing so fine. And I honestly think, they said it themselves, like the White House, I want to say Trump, but I think it's bigger than Trump only, is kind of doing this on purpose, right? The reset needs to happen. And yeah, then there are people that at these low prices feel like, okay, I'm out. And there are people that say like, okay, you know what? I'm in. I don't know where the bottom is. Nobody knows. Man, Trump himself doesn't know. Like, let's not try that we know, right? But I don't know where it is. But I know that this eventually, if we look back in a while, this was an opportunity. I'm pretty confident about that. And look, do with it whatever you want. I might be wrong. And I don't want to wreck you. But I also, for shit no, don't want to be the person that looks like he's just new, bought a camera and at the bottoms or at the lows or in the middle of the panic says like, guys, we should sell now. No, man, too late. We should have sold months ago, if anything, right? Now I more feel like, man, might just sit it out, right? So if you are in cash right now, you're blessed, right? Again, like I said, people bought here. You probably bought here, right? Somewhere around December. Why? Try to answer that for yourself. Why? Or let me know in the comments. Why did you buy here? Right? Because you thought that it was going up, right? You thought that you could have made money right here. Right? So let's say you bought here and you hoped for a 2x, right? I think that's the least that everybody expected. So let's say people hoped for a 2x. So $900 billion market cap right here, right? That was the expectation. At least I think. Cool. If that's the expectation, then if you now buy here and we go to that, then you're sitting on a 5x. Right? So why the fuck would you not buy here? If you can now make 5x according to your limited expectations. Right? Now, apart from that, man, so many interesting charts right now. I can do this for 2 hours. I'm not going to do that, don't worry. But everything is outperforming ETH right now. Altcoins, outperforming ETH really hard, right? Bitcoin, outperforming ETH, this Ethereum on its Bitcoin pair. So if you turn it around, outperforming ETH. Look, I do think that there's something to this. In a market that's going down, people are not caring about narratives. They don't care about hypes. They don't care about the next best, whatever, right? They just care about not getting wrecked. When the market turns around and it's going up, people are already looking for the next hype, the next thing again, right? That's how it works. The market can turn around like that. A couple months ago, people were chasing meme coins. They were all about Solana, etc. Right? So whenever the market turns around, there will be something else. And it's not only a matter of like surviving right now, it's also a matter of front running that, right? If you now feel like market is going to turn around at some point, cool. What's going to be the narrative then, right? Is the narrative going to be Bitcoin? I don't know. Is the Bitcoin dominance? And the Bitcoin, this is the Bitcoin dominance without stable coins, right? And what's interesting to this, if you ask me, there's some big resistance right here, in my opinion. Also, if you look at the stochastic on the weekly, if you look where it's sitting right now, It's now even higher because I've put this up yesterday, but it's a new week right now. But pretty much every time it got to these really high levels, we saw a good correction. Right here, it went on for a little while, but then the Bitcoin dominance went down with 11%. Here, it went down with 8%, and we had moments where it went down into a pretty decent reversal. We had a moment right here where it went down into a full alt season, right? We are now sitting at that exact level again, right? So you could say like, I think the narrative is going to be Bitcoin. Look, the narrative was Bitcoin 3 years ago, right? And the narrative could be Bitcoin for the coming month, maybe, or a couple months. But for the rest of this cycle, I think that this dominance has way more downside than upside. But again, hey, the only thing that's holding up for now is Bitcoin. So it doesn't feel like that. Doesn't matter. It's not about now. Then you should have made that investment a couple months ago. It's what about what's about to come, right? So I feel like, man, what could be the narrative, right? And in my opinion, the narrative would be something that's reliable, right? People are now getting wrecked, especially with these meme coins. People first, they or low cap AI coins, whatever it was, right? They had a quick hype, but some people bought it too late, and these coins they got wrecked exceptionally hard. So I do think that in the next leg, people might choose to be a little safer than that, and that could be the narrative for Ethereum or Ethereum based coins, actually, right? And yeah, I don't know. If I now look at ETH, I feel like, okay, this is a level that I feel like, fuck yeah, it's crazy, right? And you see that I have this stochastic RSI pulled up the whole time. We are oversold, like hard, like flashing oversold, right? We can stay oversold for longer, sure, definitely. Then again, feel like, man, eh, if you don't buy at these oversold levels, then what do you do? Do you buy at the overbought levels? I don't know. Even Benjamin Cowan pointed out, Cowan, Ethereum has to go home, right? And it's funny. I made these YouTube tier lists and I praised him. And I remember people saying like, "No, he's so bearish." And now I see a lot of people say like, "Wow, he called it." Yeah, he fucking calls it. He's the goat. But he said like Ethereum has to come home. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but Ethereum, I would say welcome home, right? Welcome home. It's been a while, man. Dude, you haven't been home since 2020, right? But Ethereum is home, right? And you might feel like, yeah, but it will go there. Good. Maybe not. I don't know. It's home at least, right? This logarithmic regression band is home. And Ethereum looks like a fantastic deal to me, as it's the lowest risk altcoin out there. And I can see Ethereum do a easy 4x in this cycle. I can see Bitcoin do a 4x in this cycle. I can see it, but I for hell no would not call it easy. With Ethereum, I would say it's more likely than not, actually. Um, so this looks like a fantastic opportunity to me, actually. Now, let me check because there is so much going on. Also, you want to keep on combining things, right? Um, because you can now also feel like, okay, dude, I get it, man. I know there's probably some good upside. Even if we are in the bear market, there could be a epic bounce, right? So even if you are bearish, you should admit like, okay, but there could be something really big coming, right? So what to buy? What are you going to buy the low caps right now? Because hey, when the market bounces, they could be epic, right? Or do you feel like, yeah, but the market could also go down even further, and then in the meantime, my low caps will get wrecked even more? Like, how are low caps doing against high caps? That's what you then want to see. So in that case, This is the chart. These are the low caps versus the high caps. You can see that in the last 4 years, we had, not even really, in the last 3 years, we had 2 moments where low caps got absolutely wrecked against high caps. That was one in the bear market, right? In the bear market, you don't want to be in altcoins in the first place, especially not in low caps. They got wrecked, right? And from March, right? We are now there. I'm not saying that this is the bottom, but hey, it's been a respected level since 2018. It's something to consider, right? So if anything, if this is it, then we are not really there yet. But look where we came from, right? This at a certain point will go up again. And that would be the point in the cycle where people will be completely missing out. And that's going to come, right? And I just keep on saying like that, like, guys, there will be a moment in this market where it's gonna be so freaking insane because the liquidity is completely been taken away and it could bounce really hard. I've said in the public Telegram chat, you can just join. I said, here's a strategy with 100% win rate. Crypto doesn't have to be complicated at all. Buy when prices are low. If you need to, read it twice, 3 times, whatever. But what 99% of the people actually do is they buy when the prices are high because that feels more comfortable, right? Then when things are low, they start to doubt, they're on the water, they're wrecked, they cannot buy the actual good entry levels because they were already all in, even if they want to. And then they start complaining, right? Then they say, it's the fault of the market. It's the fault of that influencer. It's because of Trump. It's because of this, because of that. No, it's because you did not buy low, right? The market doesn't give a shit about you. It doesn't feel like, oh, you bought there. Oh, sorry, I'll go up first a little bit more. No, right? Like that's on you. So what actually went wrong? That they did not buy low. That's all step one, right? Taking profits isn't even part of that. But most people will never even get to that point because they can't apply step one correctly, right? So whenever you look at alts and you now feel like, I don't want to buy here, I don't want to buy here, right? If you cannot buy because you don't have money, that's a different thing, right? But if you have, but you can't because you are scared or you feel like it's not going up again or whatever, realize that, right? The market goes up, down, right? I mean, if it's down, you place your orders, and then when it's up, you can take your profits. But if you see it go down and you feel like, oh no, and you don't buy, then what's there for you when it goes up? And every single time, whenever it is down, people say, no, but it's now different. So far, it never was. It never was. Believe me, you are not that genius. It's not that easy. The market isn't that easy. It's not like, oh, whenever it goes down, you should now sell, right? Like, no, it's not that easy. The market doesn't give it to you like that. I know this is a long video, but I mean, God, guys, there's so much to get out of this market right now. And I'm sitting with an infected throat right now, killing myself for this. And I'm not doing this for me. I can stop talking on YouTube, just place my orders, wait, make my money. It's fine. I'm getting paid $200 every month on YouTube. I'm not chilling, so I'm not making money with this, right? I'm doing this for you and eventually for me to build a good reputation, right? In the hope that in a couple months people come back and say like, or dude, like, hey, it did, it was the right bet, right? Did I apply everything perfect this cycle? Fuck no. Hell no. Definitely not. Will I do a next cycle? No, fuck no. Of course not. Right? Sure not. If I look back, I should have taken all my money out right here. Right? But I wanted to stay hedged for the upside as well. I should not have done that. I believed that there was going to be a correction right here. Why not taking it all out? Yeah, I don't like being all in or all out, but I should have taken more out. You know, that's crypto. Could have, would have, should have. Fuck that, right? We do. We make mistakes. We learn. We apply them. Next time we do better. We make some more mistake. We apply that. It's all good. All part of the game, right? All I know is so much FUD and fear, and that can sustain. It won't sustain, right? And now it's mostly because of tariffs. Let me tell you what that was announced days ago. Crypto market adapts like a sponge, right? When it based on that news, the worst is over, unless there will be new news, of course, about it. But based on that news, the worst is over, right? And now, what could happen? The more bad news comes out right now, fine. That's identifying our bottom. At a certain point, there's no bad news left, right? And there will be good news. There will be deals made. The Fed has a reason again to stop QT, maybe even begin QE if that happens, dude. To print money, right? It's kind of the same. To lower the rates. Again, they're gonna make the deals to make it all a lot better for every country. I'd like, and then with the smallest piece of news, you can see the biggest pumps in your altcoins already, right? One, people are not used to good news, so hey. But two, also again, prices are so low, it doesn't take shit to pump it, right? So what I have been doing and why I'm staying quite optimistic, because you can say like, hey, CeDeFi, it's below the bear market lows. You were bullish on CeDeFi, right? For example. Yes. But it's also because I've taken my profits, right? At around 3 something. Taken my profits out, right? And I haven't been buying every 10% dip in this market, because if you do that, then you can buy here, then you can buy here, and you are really catching falling knives. Sometimes, most of the times actually, the best trade is no trade, right? I've been not really buying much, maybe here and there or something, but my bigger buys, I haven't made them yet. Right? I've made my one my relative big buy here, and the biggest I'm waiting for here. Right? And if it never comes, it never comes. If it does come, fuck yeah. Right? And then it can go up so hard again. Right? Um, but yeah, man, I don't want to make this longer than it needs to be, but I just think that perspective is really important, and that red isn't bad, but it depends if you're prepared, right? And I think that that's a mistake. Most people, they weren't prepared, right? They just bought high, they saw it go down, feel wrecked, want to capitulate. And that's normal behavior in crypto. And if anything, I hope people will do that, because that's the people that are losing are the reason for other people to win. But as you are watching this channel, I hope it doesn't happen to you, right? Now, yeah, I don't know what to say, man. I mean, let things break. Let's see how low it can go. Maybe it's in for now. Maybe we see a fat bounce right now. Maybe we get some more. Maybe whenever the stock market opens and it goes into the red, crypto gets a fat hit from that still. I have no clue. All I know is that if I look at the higher time frames, everything is already oversold. Bitcoin has hit the target. A lot of altcoins are down a lot. But then again, if I look at the render at 260, then I feel like, man, you have to understand a relative safe altcoin, right? it was able to go to $13 without an alt season. Understand that, right? We haven't seen alt season yet in this cycle, right? And let's not even talk about that first. But this was able to get there without an alt season. So even if we don't get an alt season, you can get a 5x on a relative safe altcoin. All right. And yeah, I don't know. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Yeah, I just try to think about the fact that people they want to always search for a reason why things are bad, and and they sometimes they come at the comments and they say like, look, today it's lower. And I'll be like, okay, bro, but one, I don't care about today. I never make videos about day trading, so it's not relevant. Two, also, if you are prepared, then lower is not necessarily bad, right? Don't overinvest. Don't buy fully into into the greed, and don't be in a rush, right? If my portfolio goes down with 20% next week, I don't give a shit, because there's also a good chance that it can go up to, I don't know, 2000%, maybe 200%, whatever, in somewhere in half a year or year, right? Then why should I care anything about that 20% down in the meantime, right? I honestly don't give a fuck, right? So yeah, I will make a another video where I will, because I have to do the perfect preparation for myself as well, where I will talk about the coins that I will buy, right? I will buy here and there now a bit. If you are in the Alpha Factory, you will know. There's a link down below. But if we get to this level, again, the COVID level of 2025, if there's anything of value around me, I will sell it. So be careful. Don't be close to me by then. Then I will sell it. But that can happen fast, right? If you look at COVID as well, you did not have time to think, right? But this could have made a huge difference, right? This right here is 50%, made a huge difference, right? Because if you bought here and you wrote it up, 4,600%. If you bought here and you wrote it up, 7,400%, right? Yeah, that's a difference that I feel like, okay, the closer, the better, definitely. So if we do get here, and you agree, I don't even feel like somebody agrees with me anymore these days. It doesn't matter. I really don't care. I just try to do it for you, really. But if you do agree, and we do get here, again, there is a chance that you don't have time to think, right? So what you might want to do is have a list of certain altcoins that you feel like, man, if we get that low, these will probably survive, and they will have some good upside there. And then just buy them, right? You can also already place your limit orders. Be a little careful with that, because there are a lot of project owners that are also new in crypto, and they look at these prices and be like, fuck that, I give up. Let me rug it, walk away with what I have. You know that also exchanges are going down. Even stable coins can get hurt. So there's always risk to something, right? So I'm personally not into limit orders, but it's also because this is my job. I'm on top of it every single day, basically, and I don't need to. For now, I want to leave it here. Conclusion: can we go lower? Yes, we can, of course. Is that a bad thing? Depends on your position. Do I think that we will be higher at some point? Um, I cannot say that I'm sure, because I cannot be sure, but I'm pretty close to being sure about that. And again, for anybody who have bought in the last year or whatever, if you have bought something in the last year, yeah, then you can also buy now because things are now lower. So if you were able to, you know, pay $10 for a cake, whatever, and you can now buy the same cake for 1.5, hey, fucking cheap. Why not? Right? Let go of your emotion. Let go. This is really the time to apply that right now. Otherwise, you're gonna wreck yourself. You're gonna let yourself leave behind. You're gonna let yourself leave more, whatever. So that's it, man. Thanks for watching. If you do like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, and stay tuned for the coin video.